Hey, welcome. This is Sensitive Authentic Speaker. I am Johnie Urban, and I have a guest today he's just amazing. He interviewed me first, and we had so much fun, and I just wanted to bring him back for me to interview him. And this is how we roll. We just kind of like, we're coaches and healers, and we're entrepreneurs that love supporting and helping each other out. So here we go. This is William Winterton. And a little bit about William is that he is a host of a podcast. And this podcast gives amazing information and support for coaches it's called Coaching Success Radio. Is that right, William?
That is correct.
That's right. Yeah, he's been coaching for over 7 years, and he just really knows his stuff, and he wants to share with you some of the wisdom that he's learned and come up with over his years of being a coach and how to be successful doing that. So here's William. Hey, a little bit about what you do, William.
Well, thank you so much. I hope I live up to this expectation. Yeah, no, I do. I have been coaching off and on for about 7 years now. It's maybe 6-7 years by that. But no, I did. I had Johnie on my program. Actually just started the podcast a few months ago. And she was one of the first 5 or 6 people that I interviewed and talked to. And it was a real pleasure. So I don't know. I think we launched the podcast, and then she just immediately, I said, "Hey, your podcast is going live." She's like, "Great. When are you coming on my show?" I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So it's pretty great. So, but yeah, no, a little bit about myself, I guess, to start it off. I've done a number of things. I call myself a serial entrepreneur. I started being an entrepreneur back when I was super young. I actually had my first business when I was 14. I started off as a magician for children's birthday parties. I started yeah. So yeah, anything that was bizarre. I was a magician. I was actually a clown. I was a juggler, face painter. Balloon animals. It was not the kind of gig that gets you a lot of attention, or like I guess maybe it does, but
in a fun way.
In a fun way, yeah. And it was funny because I've been a big fan of that stuff for a long time. I love performance. I love being in theater and the arts and stuff like that. And somebody just said, "Hey, would you want to come do a show at my kid's birthday party?" And I was like, "Sure. How much do you charge?" You mean you're gonna pay me to do this? It was just this mind blowing, like, holy cow, I can do something I love. So I created this whole thing. Anyway, so that was the start of it. And then since then I've gone on, and I've just never really had a desk job. I've done odds and ends things through my life. I picked up odd jobs over my high school. I actually worked in a baseball stadium for about 5 years, running sound and lights and so it's like never had a 9-to-5 sitting in a cubicle. That's just not. I'm not wired for that. I'm not very good at that. But in the coaching world, I'll fast forward quite a bit because I could bore you with all whatever. But I got really interested in real estate about 2011, something like that, a little bit after the crash. And at that time, I became a private lender in real estate, helping people to secure money to fix and flip homes. You see all those shows on TV, Flip or Flop, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I started doing that, and in that process, people were asking if I could help them in their own business and in their own real estate world. So I became a coach and a mentor of an organization. There's about 7 of us who were coaching and mentoring this group of about 400 people in real estate. Got a taste of that, and I thought, oh, I like coaching a whole lot more than I like flipping houses. So that's where I kind of veered off in that direction and kind of went off, and the rest is history. Been doing this for a while now.
Wow. Yeah, that's a path.
It's bizarre, and I still do, man. I still do kids' parties if they ask me, but it's not something. It's not on my resume anymore. Yeah,
I totally get that. I don't know. Did I mention in my interview that as a hairstylist for a while?
Yes, I think so. And it's funny because that's the stuff that kind of like defines you, right? It's the stuff that like by doing that you start to meet people, and because hairstyling is the same kind of a field. You start to really connect with people on a one-to-one level.
Yeah, it is. And it does. It leads you to be a coach because it's like, you're like the bartender. People come in and talk to you and tell you everything. And
exactly.
You so badly want to help them and you don't know how. And so you start taking some training and you're like, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you're doing the whole coaching thing.
Exactly. So it
Very nice.
springboards you into your path.
Yeah, and so
So,
once in a while, I still do hair once in a while if somebody asks me to.
but see, that's the thing. If you
You do,
enjoy
you
doing
love,
it,
yeah, you love doing it,
that's
and yeah,
awesome.
yeah, makes them feel good, makes them look good. Why not?
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so
So,
yeah, go ahead because you know what you want to talk about, William. You're just
well, so I was going to say, so
excited.
I know in coming on here and for the audience, I guess, so one of the things that I'm passionate about, and when you're doing your own business and when you have your own business and you're trying to make it on your own, I learned very quickly that you can't fake it. You have to really do something you're passionate about, or you're going to burn up really, really quickly. And that's kind of where I was with the real estate world, kind of going back to that. I love the idea of, like, the whole reason I got into real estate was because I knew the crisis was happening. I actually had neighbors of mine who had their house foreclosed on, and my wife and I were having a conversation, like, how could we fix this? How could we help this? What could we do? And at the time, this was in I think in '09, and we knew nothing. I mean, I worked at a church for years as a musician, so again, not a desk job, but that was where my brain was, and I thought, how could I possibly, in my position, help somebody in this type of a situation? So that's why I got into real estate, was because I thought, if I can help people out, and I actually did a lot of that more than going in to try and flip houses to make profit. I was looking for homes that were distressed and foreclosed and people were losing their shirts, and trying to help resolve those situations. And then I got into where we were funding houses and funding bigger projects, and it got really boring to me because I know how to do it. I could make money at it, but the passion wasn't there. So if I'm just saying, if the passion is not there in what you're doing, it wasn't until I found the coaching side of it that I thought, okay, this is where I can lean into again. So my first thing to always tell people is that you got to really dig deep and figure out if this is something you're doing because you want to make money and you want to have an online business and it just sounds like it'd be great, and quit your day job and all that stuff. Or is it something that you're truly passionate about? Is this something that you're going to pull yourself out of bed in the morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning every morning to do? And if that's the case, then you're going to succeed no matter what. At some level, you're going to make it. So
Right. Yeah. And that's a pretty deep question too. It's like, what's your passion? I have lots of people come to me and says, can you help me find my passion? And I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things you just wake up one day, one afternoon or whatever, and it just falls in your lap. It's that easy, but you have to wait for it almost. It's just really bizarre. So I personally tell other coaches, I says, just do what you do. Just go out there and help people. And when something comes along, it's almost like God's knocking on your head saying, okay, I told you 3 times already, this is the direction you need to go in. Why aren't you listening?
Exactly.
And when you kind of get that feeling of, that's how I got into training public speaking people. I was dabbling in it because I was learning it from so many different people, and some of the methods they were teaching me weren't working for me. I think I mentioned I'm a highly sensitive person. I have those traits and abilities. So, and I think you have a little bit in you too, William.
I'm sure I do.
That compassion comes through. And so a lot of things out there in the world don't work for us because of the way we operated, the way our brains operate and everything. And so I took all this training. It wasn't working. And I says, okay, I'm going to take this piece and this piece and this piece, and I'm going to invite people to come to a little live meetup group, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to learn public speaking. And that's what started the whole thing. And then I had more people asking me to do it, and more people, and they were seeing what I was doing, and did more and more. So it snowballed into what I'm doing now. And it's a unique program, but it's one that works for people that are sensitive coaches, and that they tend to fall into those genres of industries as coaches, healers, visionaries, and so it's one of those things that kind of shows up when you pay attention and fall into it, and it's just, I call it a magical miracle. It's the only way I can explain that.
And the important thing is that in order to get there, you kept yourself going forward, right? You kept trying. A lot of the people I talk with, and so my business now is I'm coaching coaches. I love coaches. I love the idea of making the world better through coaching.
Yeah.
And so my passion has really grown to be, how can I support other coaches, which is why I started the podcast, right? But the thing I see a lot is that they'll go in and they'll say, I'm looking for my passion, or I'm looking for, when they're narrowing down a niche, which is a huge deal, right? Because if you're too broad, you're not going to get anybody. You have to be really specific. But when they're doing all that, I get a lot of people who, when they're first starting out and coming to me and they're saying that this is a challenge because I'm not sure I'm passionate about this, or I'm not sure that this is really where my calling is, or my purpose, and all this kind of stuff. And that's not something, in my program that I'm going to be able to solve in, a few months. I can't do that. Nobody's going to be able to promise you to find your passion. But the way to get there is exactly what you just said, Johnie, is that you have to keep trying something new and just keep moving forward. And you have to understand, I guess the best way I can think of it is that you have to understand what your ideals and your values are. Yep. What are the things that you subscribe to? What are the things that you say, this is what I want in my life? I want integrity. I want a relationship with a spiritual level, if that's what you want. I want honesty. I want passion in what I'm doing. I want passionate relationships. I want, and you put these high level things, then all this groundwork that you're doing, it doesn't matter what your day job is or what your niche is to start off with, and that stuff. If that's what you're striving for, then these things will start to drive you that direction. Like get on the highway and your destination's here. You can take a bunch of different roads to get there, but if you know this is what you want, then whatever course you get on is going to get you there. And the problem I think sometimes is that we feel like, well, I don't feel a passion about doing this. And I don't feel, it's almost like a marriage, right? Like I don't feel like I love her the same way I loved her 20 years ago. Or I don't feel the passion of my job like I used to. Or I don't feel the passion as whatever it is that you're doing. And so you start leaving that. And my challenge is, okay, you can't just expect to jump into something new and be at a 10 with your passion of it. You have to put in the effort and work and find it by putting your higher level things that you want to achieve, put those in your forefront, and your path will make itself. Just like you said, hairstylist, church musician, whatever it is that you're in, you'll get there. But you have to put in the work and the time to direct yourself that way, and let the process kind of happen.
It's kind of like, I just call it to pay attention.
Absolutely.
Be conscious. Absolutely. Be conscious about it and pay attention to the signals you're getting from the world. And absolutely. Yeah, and how you're showing up in that. I also have a mantra that I live by, and I try to help everybody understand this. It's, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Absolutely. So absolutely agree.
Yeah. So it may be something that you have a little passion about or a little interest in or something like that. But it's like, if you're not having fun, figure out how you can have fun in doing that.
So that's kind of been one of the things about me as well, is that I have a horrible optimistic outlook. Like I will look at anything and be like, okay, cool. And it's like, it can be the most detrimental thing to my life. And I'm like, oh, it looks great. Because I'm always thinking like there's something good about to happen. I've always been in that mindset, which is awesome, but it also puts you in a little bit of a weird spot because sometimes life will throw a curve at you and you've got to pay attention to it. And it's telling you, like you said, there's 3 knocks on the head. Like, look, I need you to go this way. And for me, I'll see something come up and it's like, oh man, okay. Like a roadblock hit me, and I'll be like, all right, well, that's interesting. I gotta, then I gotta just figure out how to fix this and keep moving forward. And the roadblock could be telling me to take a different path. Like it's time for you to move on to something else. That's very much what my job at the church. I'll just give that example. I'm a musician. There's a surprise, right? A musician, juggler. I don't know, anything that was just bizarre and performance-y and didn't ever land me a girlfriend when I was in high school. Those are the things I was interested in. I don't know how many people are really think ventriloquists are that, hot, but it's just kind of but I was the guy who church musician, I get a job somewhere and I will stay with it forever because I just think that this is what I'm going to do. And then I'll start, instead of leaving that and going on to something else, I'll just start stacking things on. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm working at the church. I'm a musician. Cool. And then we started a videography company, my wife and I. Okay, cool. We did this. And then we got into real estate. And I started stacking all these things and then coaching. So then I had all these hats I was wearing. And I was like, oh my gosh, it got to the point where it was weighing down on me so much. I ended up leaving my job at the church about 2 years ago, which is something I love. I love the church world. I love music. I love the people I was with and serving. And I just thought, I got to let something go. And if I'm going to grow at any level, like I've got to listen to my own advice and like, okay, go where life is telling you to go. And that's where being overly optimistic and being overly thinking that everything's going to work out fine. Yeah, I'm balancing a lot of stuff, but it'll all work out. So that's kind of been my detriment. But at the same time, it's like I have such a good time. This kind of stuff. I could just sit and have conversations all day long. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I love it too. I love
super,
it.
super optimistic.
I love it too. But bottom line, William, is what we're doing here, is what you're doing on your podcast, is what I'm doing here. It's like we're helping people. We're helping people get what they want. And by doing these interviews and getting people's voices out into the world. And it's always like, oh my goodness, if you help people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. And yes, it fulfills us. Yes, it makes us feel good. But honestly, you know, you and I are both so similar in that aspect. We want to lift other people up into a level of greatness and show their greatness to the world. We're kind of both in that same book of life.
Yeah. Well, the minute that somebody figures out how amazing they are, and you kind of watch that turn on in them, and I've seen that. I have 2 children, so I've seen that happen to my kids when they accomplish something that they had no idea they could do on their own. When my wife is working, she's very entrepreneur minded as well, and she gets something to work out. When I'm coaching somebody, when I'm with some friends, and the light bulb comes on, and you recognize a higher level of self-worth than you thought was there. It's amazing, because it kind of brightens up the whole room, and that's kind of like, I want to feed off of that. I want to get as many people into the room as possible and get them to say, look, you think you're here, but you are so much better than you think you are. You are so much more capable than you think you are. You have so much more power in your voice than you think you have. You have wisdom in you that needs to be shared. You have stories to tell that have power and that can drive major change in the world. And I think we have gotten to a point. It's interesting because of social media. And I'm going to kind of veer off topic, but I'm going to swing back around in a second. Because of social media right now, I'm watching, my daughter's 14. So she's right in that cusp of Instagram and, all the people, talking and how your presence is and selfies. And I got to look a certain way. I got to act a certain way. So you kind of fake this thing about yourself to make yourself feel like you're somebody else. And you kind of put this presence and persona. And I know that we tend to do it online as well, right? As a coach or anybody who's online, you try and create this personality that's attractive. This is what we call the attractive character, that is going to draw people into your business and draw people and be excited about you. And it's good because it gets people out of their shell a little bit, and it gets people to come out and try and open up a little bit. But the downside of that is that I see so many people, and again, I go back to my daughter. She's amazing. She's really good at this, but so many of her friends and young people who are struggling to create an identity for themselves that is not real. It's not really who they are, because their self-worth is so low that they feel like they have to emulate these internet stars, these people who are these huge influencers online, and try and be as big and powerful and beautiful and smart and funny and all these things. It's almost everything I went through as a child, but it's blown up so big because of the social media. It's like we forget how valuable we are, how many flaws you have and I have that are just powerful because we have them and we can share that and we can relate that with people. And if we don't have that story to share, there's no way that you and I could have a connection. There's no way that you and your audience could have a connection, because we'd be seen as way too high up, and it would be it's unreal at that point. So if I can get people into a room and get them to recognize honestly, genuinely, how much power and how much strength and how much good stuff there is in you without having to change anything. I don't need you to be somebody else. I want you to be you, and I want you to share you with the people that need to hear your message. And I think that alone has the power to change it changed the world. Literally, it's incredibly powerful mindset to get in place that I am enough.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. It's one of the fears that, in my academy, my Speakers Academy, it's one of the things we talk about in great depth is the fears that hold us back.
Yeah.
Before you go on stage, before you go on, like, I will freely admit that I suck at Facebook Lives. I don't do them because of that. It's kind of like why I started, doing the entrepreneurs wearing hats. and I first started it out is okay, before I go on a Facebook Live, my hair has to be done, my makeup has to be done, I have to be all perfect and all this kind of stuff. And I go, why don't I just put a hat on?
There you go.
And just, not worry about all this stuff and just be real and authentic. Why don't I just do that? And then it just kind of morphed into doing these interviews and recording them, putting on YouTube and everything so that more people can actually see them. And
right.
I still am not doing Facebook Lives. Not yet. I will get.
That's okay.
I will.
We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there.
I will get there, because I know I have a message to say to people, and they need and the things that I've said, even profound. They surprise me. They just come out of nowhere, and I'm just like, who said that? It's like,
yeah.
Where'd that come from?
We have so much more to offer than we give ourselves credit for. And we are absolutely our biggest critic. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we are.
There's nobody who thinks that you can do less than you do, right? I mean, it's like, I get up every morning and I'm going like, man, what am I really trying to do here? Like, who am I kidding, right? And that whole imposter syndrome sits in, and I revert back to, again, I'm the kid who is trying to, get all these, goofy ideas going. And it's like, no, it's the real thing. And that's kind of what I want to lean into, is that connecting with people, especially online. And again, if you're going to try and grow and connect relationships and build authentic brand with somebody, you can't fake that. You can't be somebody who tries to create a persona that isn't real and isn't genuine and try and connect. You're not going to get there. You're not going to grow your business. I don't care if you're a coach, or I don't care if you're a speaker. I don't care what business you're in, hairstyle. It doesn't matter what you are. But again, online, for some reason, we think that we have to try and sometimes like layer on this extra shine or something like that to make ourselves stand out.
Well, one of the reasons, William, is because of online bullying. It's real. It's out there.
Absolutely.
We put a video out. I put just a picture out or something. I'm going to get at least one person that's going to be somewhat critical. And that's not a reflection on me. It's logically, you think about that. It's a reflection on them and how they're living their life. And yeah, it's easy to unfriend them and all this kind of stuff, but the damage is done. It's hurtful.
Yeah.
And we don't want that. People, I'm sensitive. Hello, it is what I am. I don't want to live my life knowing that, okay, if I could do a Facebook Live, somebody's going to say something negative, at least. No. Do I really want to put myself out there for that? That's
right.
That's hovering. Do I really want to do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a conversation that needs to go deeper and needs to go, the breadth and the depth of it. It really needs to be addressed in all social media. So.
And anonymity isn't helping either. It's the fact that you can go online into any kind of a forum or any kind of, you just go onto YouTube, watch this video, and be whatever name you want to make up and put in some kind of comment that's negative, derogatory comment, and hide behind your screen, and you can say anything you want. And that's what always gets me too, is that people, it's nice in some ways to be anonymous, that I don't have to have people like watching everything I'm doing, and I can shop, or I can live my life without thinking that everybody's watching every transaction. But at the same time, when you're in and you're sharing ideas, especially if it's critical, I have no problem receiving critical feedback from anybody. If they're real about it, I've been told things in my face like, okay, that just sucks. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Because sometimes I'll go through it and I'm like, God, yeah. But then they'll follow it up and they'll be like, but here's how you could do it. And if it's somebody I know and love, like I've got people in my life, I have coaches and mentors that I work with who basically I pay to tell me that. And cause I trust their value of that. Right. Yeah. And I know they're not just going to say it like, oh, William, you're never going to make it. Right. They're not saying that. They're not saying you're worthless. Yeah. They're saying that what I tried to do didn't work. It was like, okay, try something else. Right. So for instance, if I were to be a hairstylist, let's just put that example out there, which I've tried, and I'll give you a story real quick. So my daughter is 14. And I'm a parent who I was a drummer in high school, so I tried to do the long hair thing. This was back when the hair bands and Metallica and stuff. So all the drummers had the long straight hair. Well, I don't. For me, my hair is I have a lot of hair, but it comes down about here and it just starts curling. So I have this ball of curl that just sits on my shoulders, and it looks it looks like it's horrible. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not cool. It didn't look like the cool drummer look that I was going for. So I grew my hair out long, but my mom let me do that, and I realized how dumb it looked. But she was smart. She was smart enough to be like, you know what? It's a lot of worse things that a teenager could be getting into. I'll let him grow his hair out long. That's fine. So my daughter's the same way. My daughter's decided she wanted to dye her hair, and she wanted to be like a bright red color. And I was like, all right, sure, it's fine. And then she's like, well, Dad, I want to dye my hair. Would you help me do it? I said, okay. So I get the gloves on and I'm going and I'm sitting there like dyeing my daughter's hair this bright red. And I asked her, I'm like, do you want me to cut it? Do you want me to try it? And that was, she wasn't as excited about. She's like, no, Dad, I don't want you to do that. Like, you can dye my hair. That's fine. But like, you're nowhere near with the scissors. And so I know my skill set. And it was the same thing. Like, no, Dad, I've seen you just trying to cut a straight line in a piece of paper. You're not cutting my hair. So I want that kind of critique. I don't want somebody to say like, oh, yeah, give it a shot and then do it. And it just looks horrible for her. So what I'm saying is that I pay people to tell me like, look, this is good. This is not good. Here's how you can improve. And that's what coaching is, right? And that's what the hard struggle of it is. So I'll do the same thing with my clients. I'll be like, hey, you know what? I may not say that sucks and that's horrible. It depends on who the person is, but I'm basically saying like, look, I know what you're trying to do, but you're going about it a really long, hard way to do it. And you're going to end up spending a lot of time and money doing this. And I'm not going to tell you that you can't do this, but I'm telling you it's wrong. Like I'm saying, like, this is not going to work. And I'll give them a story. Like, ask me how I know this. I tried this, and this, and it's not going to work. So what you got to do is you got to do a Facebook Live, or you got to go and I'll give them whatever strategy it is they have to get done.
Yeah.
And it's that tough love, and it's a very different thing than, like you were saying, the online bullying and stuff, which I just let that roll off because I figure if they're in a place where that's where they are, they have nothing to give me that's going to encourage me positively, and I get more. Again, that's my optimistic mind. I go, man, now I really want to like help them. Like I feel bad now. Like, oh gosh, this person's really struggling.
I know when you see that, you're just like, what space they're in, and you're just like, oh, I know that I could just turn them around if they just would. It's like
how bad of a place are you in that you have to go on and make some kind of a critical comment about my video? Like, is this really where your world is at? Is this the best that you got? Because I feel so like I got hurt for that. It's like, again, when I worked at the church, I'd have people who would complain. You're in a church and you're like, they complain about like the music. One person would come up and like, it's too loud. The other person would be like, I didn't like that song. And I'm like, is this really is this the biggest, like, if this is the biggest problem you've got in your life, I want to switch places with you.
Wait, I thought you were in a church where
Oh, I'll tell you, it's funny. There's a lot more behind the scenes going, like, people are just like, oh my gosh, I really like, is anything like, that's it. But overall, people are amazing. I think human beings are awesome. I just think that sometimes we go a different direction, and I'm guilty too. I've done it too. I've been online and I've seen something, and I'm like, oh man, and I'll put something in there and about liking or disliking it, and like, I don't know, that wasn't that great. And now I'll look at my thing and I go, gosh, I gotta either follow that up or I gotta we kind of jump into something without thinking about the ramifications of it sometimes. And I think that's part of life, is you have to go. Okay,
but it's all that's the whole problem with typing something up, whether it's a text or a message. People can't hear the intention and the tone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so that's a problem that shouldn't be. It
is hard.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. So, but that's really great advice. Really great.
Yeah, it's just where we are. But no, I continue to fight that everybody's got something, a message that's powerful and positive to say. And I just think, again, and especially in the world where we have everybody's on Facebook, some kind of social media, and there's so many people. How do you connect and make those intimate relationships one-on-one? And that's, again, if you're authentic and you're really the person that people perceive you as online, and you're not trying to fake your way through it, then getting those relationships and connecting is so much easier. And actually it's better off because you're able to actually have a more real, like, you don't have to work at it, for one thing, but the benefits from it, the people who you can then refer business to, or you can just grow in relationship with, it's so much easier.
Right.
So
right, yeah, it's and when you, oh my goodness, when you first connect with somebody, don't slam them with your business.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That happens so often.
Yeah.
And I so desperately want to reach out to them and tell them, wait, well, you just friended me. I accepted it. And now you're filling out my message feed with your business. And I
You
so,
don't know anything about me. Yeah.
I'm
Why?
like,
Yeah.
I so desperately want to tell them to please stop doing that. But I don't want my message to come across as being judgmental. You see, it's like I'm in this conundrum. And maybe other people are too. Maybe other people are out there, especially coaches and stuff. It's like our heart goes out to them that you poor soul, you have to go do this. You know, it's not like when I go out into social media, I do what's called farming.
Mm-hmm.
I look for people that have problems that I could solve their problem. And then I just start having a conversation with them. And I think you do that too.
Yeah, it's exactly.
And maybe lead them down a path. I say, hey, are you curious? Maybe interested or whatever. Let's message. And so it's like planting seeds and then farming and nurturing that, like the relationship, and letting and see what grows out of it. Versus people that are, they want to be friends with you. They have mutual friends. Then all of a sudden they're just, your friends. All of a sudden they're just filling up your message with, oh, this is what I do, and this is how I do it. And come on, answer me back. And I'm just like, I really just want to ghost them.
Right. Well, it's farming versus hunting is the analogy that I've always used. I remember I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But it's because if you go out and you're farming and you start to develop and nurture your clients, your leads, or even again, I look at it as every relationship I have could be a prospect for me, or I could be a client for them at some point, or it could just be a relationship that just is something that's healthy. There's nothing wrong with having relationships that are good, positive, healthy relationships with people, versus going out and trying to go hunting. And so you go out there with your gun, you shoot, and there's a bird up there, and there's 1,000 other birds that go scattering because they're like, oh my gosh, all this person's going to do is try and like throw their messaging at you. So it takes more time, but it's so much more organic. And that's what I love to do. And what I teach as well is that it's a matter of building trust and building relationships. There's a great book, and I can't remember the author. It's called The Trust Edge, and the name escapes me of the author. But basically, that trust is the currency of the 21st century. That more than anything else you have, trust is the currency that you have to live off of. And it goes to talking about even when eBay and having the reviews of your eBay, your Amazon, or any kind of a business. It's like more than how much you're making now. If you lose that trust in a client or in a relationship, if you go to somebody like you said and you say, Johnny, you want to be my friend on, do you want to connect with me on LinkedIn? Sure. Okay, cool. Hey, I just want to let you know I have a business. I help people find blah, 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 blah. And I scale by 3 to 5%. If you're interested, contact me. I'd love to do business. And I know nothing about you. I just know I found you and you're a speaker. Okay, cool. Great. She must want my product. And I go and instantly, I do. That's the quickest way for me. And this is where this is the tough love. I don't mess around. Like if that's how you introduce yourself to me, if I take the time to introduce myself and say, hey, I usually start with something that's nothing to do with business. For somebody who I meet, are they a musician like I am? Do they have kids like I do? Or do they have a certain type of movies? And I find something, I'm like, hey, that's, I just noticed this on your feed. That's pretty cool. And I'll start a conversation that has nothing to do with anything because I want to start building something up.
Yeah.
And if somebody connects with me and says, hey, William, how you doing? I'm great. How are you? Great. Hey, I want to tell you about a unique opportunity. Then boom, I will be like, I take them out. I don't have time because you're so saturated with people online that I really, it's harsh, but for me, I just feel like I have to say, yeah. And I don't give them a warrant. If that's it, if you give me a 1 sentence hello, and then here's my pitch. It's a really rare circumstance that I'm going to keep you around because I just feel like that's
I wonder what kind of training they're getting to let them know that that's okay to do that.
Well, to me, the School of Hard Knocks would eventually tell them that they're doing that, and nobody's responding to me. And I've sent out 100 messages today, and I haven't gotten anything back. Well, to me, at some point in your brain, that has to kick in that you're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
You're the equivalent of a 21st century telemarketer is what you're doing, and you're interrupting me during my dinner, and I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But if you and I met somewhere and we were just having a social event and we started striking up a conversation and we got to know each other and I introduced my wife and my kids and we started talking. And in the course of our time, it's that kind of a feeling. There's so much more warmth there. And I feel like I already know you and you feel like you know me. And then all of a sudden that breeds trust and that breeds relationship. And maybe I'll never coach you and you'll never coach me, but you might know somebody or I might know somebody. But, it's like that's where the relationship goes. And so that's, again, it's this whole thing of authenticity, and not because in real life, you'd never do that. Like, it's just not, I don't think you'd be that person who'd sit down in the restaurant somewhere, lean over to the person next to you and say, "Hey, you want to hear?" Like, it's just awkward.
That's not me. That's not.
No, it's not. And it shouldn't be anybody,
But it does happen. And it's, so yeah. Oh my goodness. You dropped a lot of wisdom on the audience here, William.
I hope I was good. I don't know.
No, that was really great. That was like a little mini course. And and what to do, what not to do when we're marketing, especially online. That was great. Okay, so William, before the end of our time here,
Sure.
It's been awesome. This has been fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been fun. So could you tell the audience if they could get hold of you somehow, maybe be a guest on your podcast or get your coaching or something, where do you want to send these people so they can get hold of you?
If you live in the Tucson area and you're looking for a magician, no, I'm just kidding. You can reach out to me. My podcast is called Coaching Success Radio. I've cleverly plugged it in the background here. So Coaching Success Radio, it's on iTunes. If you are a coach, and actually if you're an entrepreneur of any kind, I have guests on there who are Facebook ad experts, who are people who help entrepreneurs with their taxes, people who help entrepreneurs get their branding message. I mean, it kind of goes for everybody. So it's Coaching Success Radio. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes. The other easy way to reach me is just go to williamwinterton.com. If you're a coach, that's got a training on there to teach you how to grow and scale your coaching business. But honestly, I would love it if you just reached out to me on Facebook. Just message me, or LinkedIn, and just message me.
Yeah.
Don't pitch me something. All right. Don't tell me something, but I want to know who you are, and I want to connect with you. And it's the same thing that Johnie and I ended up doing. We just connected. It was very organic. She jumped on my show, but we've had a good little conversation back and forth since then, and that's what I value. So if you want to reach out, I'd be happy to just to chat.
Yeah, awesome. I'll make sure those links are in wherever this video ends up, and on the podcast when that gets launched. I'll make sure all your links are there, and then we'll just connect. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Connect the dots.
There you go. It's perfect. Well, Johnie, I want to just thank you too. I love your show, and I am super honored to have been asked to be on. It was great.
Oh, thank you. That warms my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you have a great day, a great weekend, and we will be seeing each other on Facebook.
Sounds great. All right, Johnie. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
You've been listening to Johnie Urban, founder and owner of Sensitive Authentic Speaker, sensitiveauthentic.speaker.com.